The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting Art of War live stream. We are here on a Thursday for our weekly talk show, and we are here to talk about Space Wolves.
Space Wolves.
Space Wolves. Oh. All right. So, good morning, Michael.
Good morning, John.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about some more Space Wolf stuff.
Absolutely. We're here because, well, we do this every Thursday. We like to, talk to the chat, talk about whatever's new. This week it's Space Wolves. We'll see what the future brings us, but we do this every week. If you are just watching this video and you haven't seen the rest of the channel somehow, one, congrats. How did you find this one first? Two, well, make sure you like it, leave a comment, share with your friends, subscribe. All these things massively help. And of course, that subscribe button, checking out the worm in the description. That is the best way you can see even more Art of War content, because that is how you're going to see some games with these Space Wolves.
Lots of games.
But we're not here to talk about the games of the Space Wolves. We're here to talk about the meta and Space Wolves. So today we're going to be talking, well, one, about anything you super chat at us. Two, about Space Wolves.
Space Wolves.
And what we think they're going to do to the game.
My opinion right now is they're going to do something. Just question of like,
something.
How much is something at the moment, right? Like, they're definitely good. There's some really good data sheets. That's probably like the best part of it, right? The data sheets are like the reasons you would play Space Wolves.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Not the detachments, ultimately, at the end of the day. We're going to be like a Gladian's Stormlands home.
May it ever be so. As a brother from the First Legion, I know what you mean.
The only other thing that I keep seeing like whispers about is maybe like there's like an Iron Storm build that exists, because like the Iron Priest's like in his cool little rapid fire thing, but I haven't personally touched anything like that yet.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm kind of at is that the real sauce that Space Wolves add, because you can look at Space Wolves as if you are a Space Wolves only player, and it's a standalone army, and you treat it like it's a Cult Legion book.
Yep.
Where it's like, I don't play Space Marines, I play Space Wolves. And that's not personally me, because I mostly dabble in other Space Marine chapters. If you're going to do that, I think that a lot of the Space Wolf detachments are like cool and have some good stuff in it, but none of them feel like it's like the total package. They all feel like they're 75% there.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think they're all missing like just enough juice, right? For instance, like Saga, the Beast Slayer, like actually has a really good suite of what it does.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's missing advance in charge or fallback in charge is like the death kneel to that detachment,
Yeah,
right?
That one is felt. The lack of fallback in charge, anytime I see that, it's like...
And then the Saga the Bold is also actually like a really quite powerful detachment. However, the Space Wolf character keyword is like so restrictive, it actually ends up being quite difficult to end up completing most of the boast, right?
Honestly, like looking at the book, like because of the way that the Space Wolf keyword is limiting things, not just Adeptus Astartes, which is very different from what we saw in the Blood Angels and Dark Angels.
Very different.
Detachments. It honestly makes me feel like Space Wolves are much more of a standalone army than other Space Marine chapters.
I would agree.
They're the most divergent, which, you know what? If it was going to be anyone, it would be Space Wolves. Yeah. It is interesting that they didn't make it just like unanimous keyword logic the whole way through.
Yeah, it seems kind of like a weird choice to make, like halfway, midway,
through an edition.
Over halfway through the edition.
They always do this halfway through the edition, you'll notice.
Yeah.
Like how after the Tyranid Codex came out, they decided all future codexes are going to have rerolls. And wait a minute. Let's not talk about that.
Remember, guys, less rerolls this edition.
Fewer even.
Fewer rerolls.
Fewer rerolls. But with Space Wolves, I really feel like it's telling you to only take the stuff that's here. Because like Dark Angels, like take a Space Marine army and maybe add some Deathwing Knights and one named character.
Yeah.
Blood Angels, same thing. At the beginning of the edition, Blood Angels like take a Space Marine army with like JPI and then add like a Death Company unit.
Or a Sanguinary Guard.
Or a Sanguinary. No, they switched.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
you
that's
didn't
right.
take Sanguinary.
It was Death Company, then Sanguinary Guard.
Then Sanguinary Guard, yeah. And so it's weird that they're kind of doing this, but it is also cool because they did give you a lot of Space Wolf characters. Right?
They give you a lot.
There's like 6 new character models.
And honestly, they're almost all good.
I haven't seen a bad Space Wolf character yet.
Arjack.
Oh, Arjak's bad?
Arjak's bad.
What does he do besides like have a good hammer? He's like good into characters?
That's basically what he does. He's got a good hammer.
Respect.
Yeah. The book is definitely lacking like an actually good unnamed Terminator character. That's like definitely the biggest flaw in the book, because there's a lot of like really interesting combos you could do that the Terminators just don't get access to, and also the Grotmus detachment has like 3 enhancements you can't use.
Well, they're Terminator only, then they just can't join the Space Wolves Terminators.
Yeah,
the other ones.
yeah, so they can't join the Space Wolves. So you could do like generic Terminators, yes.
Yeah,
but like that's not what you're here for, right?
I definitely think that they need to put an FAQ in that I think the head takers, that like kind of makes sense, but the Wolfguard Terminators have to be joined by like, if nothing else, just the Terminator captain.
Yeah,
like if nothing else.
Yeah, they just need something that can lead them, or else it just leaves like kind of a giant hole like in the book, right? But I think the Wolfguard by themselves are still like good enough. I just would like them. They deserve a little more, right?
Yeah, I certainly agree. So when we look at it like that, that's like if we look at like just from the Space Wolf lens. If we look at it from the Space Marine lens, this is like the part that I care a little bit more about, because
I'm just a Space Wolf player.
You're a Space Wolf player. I'm a Space Marine player.
Yeah,
it's totally different, guys. I swear. I think of it as Space Wolves have some of the best hard-hitting melee data sheets, because that's always been the big weakness of the Codex Space Marines, is that the melee options are sparse.
Yeah.
Like the best melee unit in Codex Space Marines is an aggressive 6-way tie between like Blade Guard veterans, Terminators with bolt guns, honestly, Assault Intercessors.
Yeah.
Probably the best one. Stern Guard veterans.
And this is still not great.
The Captain.
Yeah.
Like,
now the Captain is good.
The Captain's good.
The Captain's actually good.
Those are like genuinely like, those are where I go for melee units.
Yeah.
Sometimes I dabble into Brutalis Dreadnoughts and Assault Centurions that Joe can make fun of me when I'm on stream. Like, there's just like nothing.
Yeah.
It's dark. You have to take like an epic hero, which is Ultramarines. But then like Dark Angels, you get Deathwing Knights, good melee, tough. Blood Angels is like good melee, fast. This is like great melee, because this
is very good melee.
This is where we find the illustrious Damage 3.
Yeah.
A thing we have not seen.
A lot of Damage 3. Like between Thunderwolf Cavalry, the Wolfen, and then technically Bjorn plus Murder Fang or Damage 3.
Yeah, and then like I think Logan Damage 2 or 3?
Logan is Damage 3. Logan is Damage 3 as well.
Like,
yeah.
You can find a lot of Damage 3, and the difference between Damage 2 and 3 is night and day.
Yeah, the Space Wolves bring lots of 4-up invulns, right? And lots of Damage 3, right? And then has mediocre access to shooting other than the Iron Priest, right? But the Iron Priest combo is like cool.
Yeah, the Iron Priest combo is quite cool. Yeah, I really think that that's where Space Wolves are going to make their mark, is that you can take the generic Space Marine detachments that buff melee units, and instead of just putting a Storm Raven and like Storm Speeders in it because you don't have any melee units, you just like put melee units there.
Just actually put the
you just
melee
like actually put the melee units there. And so I think Space Wolves are going to make a really good Space Marine army that's using the base detachment.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think they're going to be 2 very defined builds from what I can tell so far, right? So we're going to have the Gladius build, which is going to be kind of like some basically MSU Marines. You're going to have a bunch of dudes running around. Like, you know, have like your, for me right now, it's like 3x5 Wolfen, 3x3 Thunderwolf Cav.
Great.
Like 1 unit of head takers and an impulsor. Just like a bunch of stuff running around the board, right? And then we're going to have the Stormlands build, which is going to be the 18 Thunderwolf Cavalry, potentially up to 30 Wolfen with Thunder Hammers. I haven't like actually tested that yet, so I don't know if that's the correct number. And then that's only like 1,200-ish something points along those lines. Yeah, so you can still have plenty of stuff after that, right? Which is really quite good. So you have like either kind of a let's play Warhammer build and a I'm going to stat check you right now game, right?
Yeah, and you can do some good things with adding fire support to either of them.
Agreed.
Gladius. So the only thing that Space Wolves do uniquely well with regards to shooting, like the only thing is the Iron Priest, right?
I agree.
Nothing else is remotely relevant.
Nothing else is relevant.
All right, cool. Oh, and Arjak's hammer, of course.
That's right. The faux
forget the
hammer.
faux hammer of the king. Yeah. But the rapid fire one, we've kind of been going back and forth on what the best unit to use him with is, because it's not immediately intuitive.
I did not get that
now.
I have a favorite now.
Okay.
The Last Cannon Predator.
Just Las Cannon Predator.
Yeah.
Slap an Iron Priest next to him.
Yeah.
The Iron Priest is like solid in combat, right? Does he have like a damage through hammer too? Because everyone does.
Oh, he's actually a little bit weird. He has a different melee profile. It's mixed. He only has 4 attacks.
Okay.
And I do believe he is still 3 damage, but
Dear
he doesn't
God.
he doesn't have like the 5 billion attacks that most Tech Marines have.
Yeah.
They just condensed all of them into one profile.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Is he like high strength AP? Like what is
Yeah, it's like just 4 attacks, AP 2 for 3. I can't remember the strength. I think the strength's like strength 7 or 8 or something.
It's either going to be 8 or 5, and I just don't know which.
I think it's 8.
There's a 50% chance it's 5.
It's something around
It's
there.
definitely not 6 or 7. It's 5 or 8.
All right, well, it's
All right,
5 or 8.
We'll find out. Yeah, the Predators, I mean, just going from 3 shots to 6 shots, right? Double.
It's like a huge deal, and getting rapid fire on your hunter killer, like it's so good. Like you just like walk up to something and you're just like, oaths. Here's my 8 las cannon profiles, right?
Yeah.
And then you actually can get repeated value out of it, right? Because yes, you don't get to rapid fire the hunter killer again, but still rapid firing like 6 las cannon shots is actually
Pretty
like
good.
it's still technically 2 predators
Okay.
firing 1 time.
How many priests do you... My instinct was like 3 Predators, 2 priests.
That I haven't. Yeah, I could see that. My concern with that is you're trimming a lot of the fat at that point, right?
True.
Like you have to kind of cut out a lot of stuff because Space Marines are still inherently like an expensive army. And what I have been enjoying about my current Gladius build is that I have a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
Right. So the moment you go to like 3 and 2 Iron Priest, that's let's see, that's 260, 390 plus 180. It's like what, 570? It's like a pretty big chunk of your list.
Yeah, it's definitely hefty. Yeah, 'cause
Now, I mean, it's really good shooting. Like, it's very, very good shooting support, right?
it's also 5 units.
It's also 5 units.
Like,
Yeah.
You know, at the
So
end of the day, the Iron Priest could just be a 60-point load up if you need him to.
that is also true.
You know, he doesn't have to be doing the buffing.
He does not have to be doing the buffing, which is also like a really nice aspect of it, right? So I like that flexibility of it quite a bit. However, like always as a player, I just like having more stuff. So I'm personally leaning towards the 1 Iron Priest 2 Predator combo. But I mean, I could easily see you going to like 2 and 3, like not like it's not a big stretch by any means, right?
Yeah, not at all. I wonder what is the other rule on the Iron Priest? I know he does his heal D3 and his rapid fire 1 is the same rule, right? He has a second rule.
He has the lone op, and he has the when you're in combat with a vehicle, he gets like really angry.
Oh, when I'm in combat with a vehicle?
I believe so.
So like does he like is it when I kill a vehicle or just when I'm like
No, it's not when you kill.
so it's different from the tech marine ones.
It's a little bit different. Honestly, it's mostly irrelevant. It's like super niche.
But like if he's swinging around an 8-2-3 hammer, how angry are we talking?
I don't think he's that angry, to be honest.
He's not
with
that
you.
angry?
I don't think he's that angry. I have to double check it, but I remember reading it and it was like he's like, I'm just slightly upset.
So what I feel like is going to happen is that, and I don't know what this rule is. I feel like what's going to happen is that Michael's going to say like, this doesn't really matter. And I'm going to be like, all right, yeah, that makes sense.
I can't remember exactly
And
what it is.
Sure. And you're like, yeah, barely ever comes up. And I'm like, at some point, I'm going to have like, I don't know, let's just like make something up here. I'm just going to have like, like an Emperor Children Demon Prince in combat with this like a Predator.
Priest, yeah.
And Michael's going to be like, you know what? I need to go check this rule. He's like, wow, it's actually +2 attacks, reroll hits, and wounds. I'm be like, oh, it is.
It's definitely not that.
I think, you know what? That's how I'm feeling though.
I would have remembered that one.
You would think so. And then and then it's gonna be like, yeah, but it's only when I'm in combat with you. So I'm just gonna charge you with the Predator and the Priest.
Right.
And then
That's a choice I
it's
could
gonna
make.
ring me like a bell. I've had this happen too many times. Where I'm like, hey, what does it do? It doesn't do anything. I'm like, no, what does it do? And
Then you
like,
quickly
it
find out
never
what it
comes
does.
up.
Yeah.
Then they're like, yeah, I'm gonna look up this rule because it never comes up. I'm like, what? What is it?
Well, I'm gonna go double check.
Yeah. Then we've talked about Gladius. There's like the other detachment.
Then which one? Stormlands?
This is Stormlands.
Oh, it's Stormlands. Your favorite.
There is. So I do think that there's going to be 3 types of Space Wolves. There's going to be people playing the Codex detachments, and they are going to win a very small number of tournaments in the first 3 months, and then we're going to stop using those detachments.
Yep.
Right? Like, look, I'm going to be honest. I saw someone win a tournament, or like with like a, God, I don't even remember the name. Deathwing Assault detachment. The +1 to wound against a picked objective marker one that you can do.
Don't even know what that does.
It's totally fine. Yeah. You don't need to. I saw it happen once, and I was like, wow, that's like impressive. Like, maybe I'll go look at this detachment. I like played a couple more games. I'm like, this is deeply mediocre still.
Yeah.
And then I went right back to Gladius. But I think that after that, it's going to be the fluffy Space Wolves, Gladius, and Stormlands. And I do think Gladius and Stormlands are going to look different.
Yeah, they're notably different. I would agree. The Stormland stat check is a big question mark of like how strong is the stat check, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a lot of 4 wound. I'm sorry, not 4 wound. It is 4 wounds
No,
on the
it's
Thunderwolf Cav.
4
4
wound,
wound,
4
4
Bendbone.
bore and Bendbone, and lots of 3 damage.
Yeah.
That's actually really quite fast, right? Because Wolfen at move 9 base is very fast. And Thunderwolf Cavalry at move 12 and then 1 CP at auto advance 9 is like so fast.
Yeah, the fact that they're 2 inches faster is crazy. But
It's actually, I've really felt that in my games. I've like really felt the move 12 on those
100%.
cavalry guys.
It turns out that's what you need, right? Make Rough Riders move 14 GW.
Especially since as well that like they have those really big round bases. That move 12 makes it so that I haven't really navigated any big movement problems yet. I kind of just go where I want to go.
Yeah.
Right?
And the Stormlands, though, I do think is going to be a bit different from the old Wolf Jail. Because old Wolf Jail, a lot of it genuinely hinged on you take like 2 big bricks with characters.
Yeah.
And I think now you just take 3 big bricks.
You just take 3 big
You
bricks.
can't Blood Surge anymore, so it's a little bit more linear to play around. But also just like points per beef, you get more beef that hits harder and is cheaper.
Yeah. It's good.
You don't get the Blood Surge, you don't get like the locked characters in. But like honestly, with the increase in AP and damage, I genuinely feel like 6 Thundercav today hit harder than 6 Thundercav with a captain did a month ago.
I think that's probably accurate, right? Because it picked up the buffs in all the right places.
Yeah, and like I know you can't take the characters, you can't Blood Surge. This is not the same unit. But genuinely, instead of like 2 Thundercab units with Wolfguard bad leaders and no enhancements, I think it is cheaper to take 18 Thundercav.
I think it probably is at the end of the day, right?
Because they were 240?
I think that's correct. I think they were 240 before. Yeah. And then the characters themselves were some number of points.
Yeah, they're like 80, 90.
Yeah, they were some.
They're in that ballpark.
Space Brain costed. Right?
Absolutely.
And now you get far cheaper. And the fact that you can, it's just, I can't highlight enough how important it is that the Wolfguard weapon picked up the buffs in the way it did, right? Like it picked up the extra AP on the good attack. The good attack is also strength 3 versus your damage, your upgraded damage was split between like the bad profile and the good profile, right? Or let me actually, it wasn't even that good. It was the mediocre profile back then. But now you just have one like exceptionally good profile that lets you split your attacks more appropriately, right? Yeah. Like that's such a big deal.
Yeah. And so I really think that the Stormlands is going to be, because a lot of Space Wolf players, let's just be honest here, already have 15 to 18 TCAF.
Yeah.
I'm very much expecting that the Stormlands is going to be the default choice early.
And it will also hit the meta very quickly, right?
Yes.
Because
everyone's ready.
Yeah.
As soon as everyone has, and let's be real here, it's not going to hit the meta yet because of how they're doing their box set.
Yeah,
releases.
yeah, we have to wait.
So, but that means everyone's going to have 2 months to lock and load. And you know what's currently like available models as opposed, like, right? Like no one's going to have Logan Grimnar ready on week 1.
No.
Because he's not out yet. But everybody's going to have Thundercav and Wolfen.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest here, if you like head takers, you can put an axe on a Blade Guard veteran.
You can do that.
GW doesn't want you to know this. You can just do that. And the new models are actually pretty sick. So
They are super cool.
It's pretty good. But yeah, I think the Stormlands is going to be like the first hit to the meta.
I think so too.
And I could see it branching out more to Gladius a little bit later.
Yeah, I think the Gladius just takes a little bit more of like some piloting and repetition to like really figure it out. Because like I've mentioned this before that like me learning Space Wolves right now, I've been quite shocked actually how much more difficult it is to pilot the army than I was initially expecting.
Yeah.
Right, so getting like a good Gladius build is going to take quite a few reps.
I feel seen. Feel heard.
You're definitely seen, John. I like played
Thank you.
a game and I was like, my goodness, my decisions like matter way more than I thought they did.
I thought they just pushed all the models.
I thought you just like play with your Space Marine and call oaths and just kill the thing, right? No, it's actually not quite like that.
Yeah, turns out. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see how the Space Wolves develop, but I'm feeling Stormlands hits the meta early. I also think Stormlands is going to be in a good spot for where the meta is currently at.
Yes, I would think so too, right? Because especially since the Death Guard hull spam, right? We've kind of talked a little about before. The Thunderwolf Cav end up eating those vehicles quite well. The T9 is a pretty important breakpoint, right? Because you get to wound on 5s instead of 6s.
Yeah.
And damage 3 is also quite good. Even into like, say they're playing Index and they have the -1 damage, right?
Yeah.
I think that's also quite nice.
God, the damage 3 is so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, because the -1 damage like doesn't check any like real breakpoints.
No, it pretty much only goes into something that's like 12 wounds, or higher, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
then
the part that matters.
and then it requests like 1 extra save, and that's like basically it.
Yeah,
right?
but like because you have a bunch of like damage 1 dog attacks smoothing things over, it's one of those things where like if you do 8 damage to a bloat drone, genuinely the puppies will probably take care of the
They
last
should
two
get the
wounds.
rest,
Like
yeah.
you'll still have the lance on them. You'll be wounding on like 4 star, right? Because
Yep.
the puppies are 5/1/1.
They are 5/1/1.
Yeah, so like
3 attacks.
If you just added 18 attacks that wound on 4s at AP1, you're good odds.
It's
to
usually
just,
pretty good.
Scratch off the last bit of paint on one of the blight haulers or something.
Yeah.
And then like into Death Guard, the lack of infantry keyword on the Thunder Cav means
Big deal.
that so T6 goes down to T5,
It's not T5.
but T5 still gets wounded on like 3s by things like Myphitic Blight.
3s to 4s, depending on what it
And
is. Yeah.
you know what immediately happens? You pop -1 to hit and wound, and these 6 Myphitic Blight haulers roll up, and you're like, oh, here's 12 Melta shots. This is terrifying. 6 hits, 3 wounds. I fill 1 or 2 invulns. You kill a dog.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
that was sick. Like that would genuinely kill like 3 Armigers, and it's gonna kill like 1 Thundercap model.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah, because like
Recursive value is quite important for the Thunderwolf
It's
Cav.
definitely is,
It's
definitely
like a
is.
really important. If you're Thunderwolf Cav, like if you run into an army that can genuinely just like kill 1 brick of Thunderwolf Cav and like a very quick activation, then you're in danger. But there's like not a lot of armies that can actually do
the
that.
only thing right now that I'm thinking of that I think is gonna get that is specifically the Infernal Master with the enhancement that survived despite all logic.
What's
the name of it?
It's called the Infernal Vortex of Ataf.
Got
now
it.
Or
That's
something.
fair. They did get rid of Arcane
or
Vortex.
Eldritch Vortex.
GW heard us begging them to get rid of
did.
Arcane
They got
Vortex,
rid of
and they
it.
heard us.
They did.
But the Eternal Vortex of Ataf.
Yeah,
is,
it's here.
That's like the one thing that I look at that's like, ooh, that might actually kill a couple too many wolves. But funny enough, like the regular Rubrikai squads, I don't think power through the Thunderwolves.
They don't do that much damage
at
to it.
particular speed. If you're on an objective, it'll hurt. If you're not, maybe Doombolt clips a guy. But then it's a bunch of wounding on 5s, and you can't stave stack me past the 4 pinball.
Yep.
And then if you don't do the save stack, suddenly an Armor of Contempt actually does slow you down a lot.
Yeah, because they'd have to like bolt, and Super Infernal, and then even then I think the squad's like still alive.
But 18.
Yeah.
18 is the problem. And also, let's be clear, now that Mutiliths are damage 3 in combat,
Oh, that's also another value.
there isn't a great profile for the Mutiliths.
No,
to do
it's
them.
actually like a really big deal.
Goats, strength 5
Winning on 5s.
into T6. Magnus, good, but damage 3. You know, War Leaders are taking a bunch of damage 3. Death Guard are taking a bunch of damage 3.
I'm seeing a common theme here.
I'm seeing a common theme here. It's the worst joke I've made.
That is the
You're
worst joke you
welcome.
made.
I don't know. I feel like the meta is primed for 18 cheap TCAV, mostly because they cheap.
So that's the big issue, right?
Cheap.
Is that the data sheet is as fine as the points are, and the points are currently not fine. So then it's going to become an issue.
Yeah.
The correct question is like, what's the appropriate points cost? I don't really know.
I honestly think they were 120, 240 before.
Yeah.
I genuinely think you could just have kept them there and said, hey, the data sheet got better, but they lost the character
Yeah.
access.
I don't think that would be
But
fine.
now the data sheet's better and noticeably cheaper, and that I think combines to mean that's a little bit too cheap. But you know what? Every army in the game has at least one thing that is too good, except for Admech. And so
that is the other thing to evaluate is armies are technically allowed to have good things. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
think
yeah.
this may be a too good of a thing.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We have to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is one of those things where it's like it's very easy to like doomsay and be like, the 18 wolves are coming for us, and then like it hits the meta, and then it's like, oh, okay, it's just fine.
Yeah, right. Like everyone complains about my noise marines. I'm like, hang on. I may have one good shooting unit, please. May I have one, Michael? Just one measly little shooting unit. Come on, like I get one thing.
I hate noise marines.
Oh, come on. They're damage 3.
They're so annoying.
They're damage 3 though.
I know.
So you're Thundercap.
They're still so annoying.
I do think that what's going to then be a big deal is that how the meta reacts. So we're not going to know this for a while on how much of an impact Space Wolves is going to make. Because I honestly think that Thundercav are going to be a better anti-meta army than a meta army.
Yeah, I could certainly see that, right? And the other thing too is like responding to Thunderwolf Cav and responding to Wolfen. I'm not entirely sure how you really do that. I don't look at an army and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is like they have so much 4 damage access or like mass 2 damage. Like
It's,
you know what I mean?
it's mass 2 damage software.
Yeah, it's mass 2 damage, right? Like so I guess a bunch of like plasma or something.
A couple armies can do it. Necrons.
They can do
One,
it.
Wraiths will survive whatever you do because they're Wraiths. But like if they just have like ignore mods DDAs pointed at you,
Yes, that actually will hurt quite bad.
That will hurt quite badly.
That will hurt quite bad.
And then, wraiths being just like damage to like Pex will like wear down Wolfen that aren't particularly good at killing wraiths.
Yeah.
So there is always going to be a way to counter as well. I think mass damage too is the way.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I could actually see Blood Angels because you have strength 7 Lance Blade Guard veterans.
That's true.
And
That's a really good profile.
That is an extremely specific profile.
That is a very specific profile.
But where would it be good, right? In Thundercalf?
They'd be great in Thundercalf.
Great in Thundercalf. Because funny enough, like EP2 melee is EP2 damage 2 is the perfect profile for Space Wolves.
It is.
You take the armor saves down to the invulns. You don't overdo it. Your 2 damage, 4 damage doesn't come in high enough quantities for me to feel good about the 4 invulns. And then EP2 damage 2 is also good with the Wolfen. Because Wolfen, I'm not sold on yet, but I know that some people are going to run 30.
I like Wolfen.
Yeah.
I like Wolfen a lot.
Do you like 5 or the 10s?
I have not genuinely tried a 10-man yet, to be honest with you. I've only tried the 5-man so far, and I've really quite enjoyed the 5-mans. The only thing that's awkward about them is that the math of what like vehicles they kill is slightly not consistent at a 5-man, right? Like sometimes it's like a little swingy. However, I like them as just like generic, like, hey, go punch that. You're very fast and you have good 3 damage. Like just go hit that thing over there.
Yeah, sure.
And for 100 points, I mean, I think that's very reasonable.
For 100 points, they're pretty good.
Yeah, it's like very reasonable. So I like that aspect of them. But I think one big 10-man would be really good. Like just one big like
you die.
Just go die, right? Like
go hit the oath target.
Yeah, go hit the oath target and like obliterate this thing, right? And that's really good.
That is a big deal with Space Marines is trying to build oath independency into the list. Because as soon as every Space Marine player and every Space Marine opponent always starts the list construction with like, oh, well, if I have a Lance and Lethal and Oath of Moment, this unit does this much damage.
They kill God.
And then they send 3 of them out at the same time.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't believe that my Shenguard without CP or Oath of Moment didn't kill this smaller fiend. I'm like, well, man, you hit on 3s, you went on 5s. I did make a 5 up in the process. I'm sorry. Like, it's just like, oops, like what happens here? And
that's the nice thing about the 5-man Wolfen squads I like, right?
Yeah.
Because they roll hit rolls of 1 natively.
Yeah.
And they have just kind of like good enough damage.
And that's why, that's one of this actually plays into my Space Wolf theory that they're not a Space Marine chapter. They're a cult legion.
Yeah.
They're just a loyal cult
They
legion.
have certainly felt like that. Like from what I've been playing is like when I'm making a list, I'm like, most of it's just Space Wolves. Like it's just mostly a Space Wolf list. And then I like bring a couple things that are Space Marines. So I feel like most of your answers are at home.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, I need a gun. Let me go find a gun really quick in this giant Space Marine book.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back. Right.
Yeah, you're just like an Emperor's Children army that actually got like Predators.
Yes. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Imagine not getting Predators.
Just taking shots at myself right now. So very interesting to see how this is going to land. I do expect, I mean, this box went on pre-order at the end of May. So it'll come out in like June or July. We'll kind of see how the timing is going to work on that.
Yeah, it's
Emperor's Children was like 6 weeks delay.
Yeah, the range has been a lot. Like I remember, like I think the Tau book was like 3 months or something.
Yeah,
it was like a super long time, and then Children wasn't too bad.
Emperor's Children was short.
It's been very hit or miss.
Yeah, Guard and Emperor's Children I think were both in like the 6 weeks because all of my recent armies have all been getting a box set, so I keep like getting the book, and I'm like, oh, can I take this to a tournament now?
And sitting in jail forever.
I'm like, oh man,
I'm so eager to take the Space Wolves out.
The Guard Codex got nerfed before it was legal because it was just like publicly good for 8 weeks, and just like got nerfed. I'm like, I didn't even get to take this to a tournament.
It's kind of messed up.
I know, right?
It's kind of messed up, actually.
Oh yeah, let me do this. Nope. I was like, oh man, I had my hopes up.
No.
Never even got to play it.
Yeah, the box release is a little bit awkward, so we're just kind of in like purgatory.
Yeah,
for now, but that's
when
okay.
when it does land, I'm expecting Space Wolves to be pretty popular because Space Wolves are a very popular chapter.
They're cool.
When Space Wolves are good, people like to play them. Everyone knows the guy at their local game store who plays Space Wolves. You can tell by looking at him. There are 3 wolves howling at a moon on his shirt, and also a wolf tattoo, and also a mohawk, and also a beard. He drives a motorcycle.
Right.
Yep.
Right. That sounds like every Space Wolf player.
That
sounds just like me too.
His name's Matt. Really nice guy, and you get to know him. But that's every single Space Wolves player in the world. And so, sorry, he might not have a mohawk. He might be bald, but there is a beard.
There's always a beard,
and it's better than mine.
Always a beard.
So, I'm excited to see it. I think that we're going to see like a couple different Space Wolf archetypes come out because the data sheets are deep enough that you're going to get to do a couple different things with the detachments. Because again, the data sheets.
There's like a lot of multiple there's like A lot of combos. The Rune Priest is good. The Battle Leader is good. Like
The Wolf Hunters, Head Takers.
Head Takers.
Yeah, Wolf Guard veterans. They're like solid.
They have combos even in themselves.
Yeah.
Paired swords with Ragnar versus like tanky guys with Rune Priest. Like there's just a lot of. I haven't even decided what I think is like best yet between these different combinations. Like,
yeah, fair enough. All right, so before we wrap it up for the day, we did have a couple of super chats. Shane Dupuy has been a member for 16 months of the War and Bronze. Thank you so much, Shane. Bring back leaders for Thunderwolf Cab. You know, I'm shocked that there isn't like a named Thunderwolf character.
it did feel kind of weird that they kept the Thunderwolf Cab and no characters.
Yeah, because the Thunderwolf Cab are plastic and none of the characters were. They were all resin.
Yeah.
They've been consistent about it. It does feel a little bit weird. I would like to see it, but I think there's a lot of units without leaders in 10th edition that all kind of need this fix. But I agree, Thunderwolves are one of them.
I think it might be like a next edition solution.
Yeah, maybe. Ryan G with the super chat can confirm. It's always nice to know that Caldor Drago randomly wins the Avatar of Cain on 2s. Yeah, honestly, Anti-Demon 2 Plus, never comes up.
But when it does.
It does.
But when it does.
Yeah, you ever seen grandpa like, oh, I do have a strat for Dev Wounds. It's not very good. But I'm like, it's not very good?
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, I used it one time when I was playing against the Amonkar. And yeah, Drago killed her without her rolling any dice. That was kind of cool. I was like, oh, well, in that case.
It's terrible.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Never comes up.
Never comes up. Hive's Bane has been a member for 33 months. We are inching closer to 3 years. That is true. Only three more months?
Until they've.
Oh, for them. I was thinking of the addition. I'm like, I feel like we're at like 2 years. GW is really putting you guys to work with these codex releases over the last month. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
But I'll never complain about more codex reviews. Thanks for all the content, guys. Thank you, Hive's Bane. I really appreciate you always being here and supporting us. Yeah, you know what? We have had a busy couple weeks in the Art of War house.
Yeah.
With all the new chapter approved content, we can guarantee that we will continue to be busy. But that means there's going to be a lot more for you to watch.
A lot of content.
Thank you so much for that. There's so much content. We're not even letting Michael sleep.
I know.
Yeah, we actually keep him underneath the kitchen table with a pillow and a blanket. But the blanket's only if he wins his latest game. That's rough.
I have to do better.
You have to do better. All right. Well, I think that about wraps us up.
I think that's it. I think we've covered all the stuff, right? Like, there's a wide range of Space Wolf stuff out there. It's very exciting. We're in kind of the waiting period.
Yeah,
right?
I'm really betting on if the meta is what it currently is, and so it's kind of hard to tell, right? Because we have to wait a month or two before we see it.
We do.
My final bet is that Space Wolves is going to come in and be a really good anti-meta army that can actually play against the current top dogs, which to me, T Sons of Death Guard are 1 and 2. I think Space Wolves can play against both of them very well. And if they get too big, people are going to start pivoting.
Yeah.
And that's when they're going to get back down. And of course, they're going to... Here's what... You know what? Tell you what. I'm gonna channel the wolf spirits of Fenris and not psychic powers, I promise. And I'm going to predict the future here.
Okay.
Space Wolves land 2 weeks of mediocrity, immediately followed by too much success. The meta adjusts, they drop down to 51%, and then GW nerfs them 3 times at once.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I don't see that future.
No? You don't think so?
I don't see that.
You don't think so? You don't think... All right.
I think it's going to be fine.
I actually think that Space Wolves are going to be a very medium win rate, but a couple more tournament wins than average.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an army that's just going to reward someone with like a lot of reps, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to wrap us up, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And of course, if you want to see more Art of War content, including some games that Mr. Michael Mann has been playing with the Space Wolves, make sure you click the link in the description below. That's thewarroom.vhx.tv. You can even get a free 3-day trial if you want to just, you got the weekend off. You want to binge a couple Space Wolf games. That's a great time for it. And of course, if you subscribe to the channel, you're going to get notified every time we go live with new content because, hey, there's a lot more coming out soon. We'll see you all then.
Bye.